hosting this evening, and so I'm just so grateful to all of you for being here and for joining us. I'm going to ensure that we move quite quickly because I know that it's time sensitive and we've got people from around the world joining us in their lunch hour, like before bedtime. And I know that, we've got Ulrika, I think, is an hour ahead of us. We've got Neeve, who is a couple of hours ahead of us. And Khaled is going to be. Khaled is my AV guy, my go-to, my right-hand man, and Tai is with us. And um, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to get this far technically. Those of you who know me will know that's very true. I am a writer for a reason, pen and paper, pencil and paper, and lots of stationery. And so tonight it's the launch of a book that, as we are calling it, Owning Our Ovaries, that I've given birth to, um, and seen it evolve over the last, gosh, what year are we in? 2025. So 6 years this book has been in my consciousness. And it's nearly broken me many times, but I'm still here to tell the tale. And so I would really like to say thank you to the five ladies that you see on the screen: Ulrika Karlsson from Sweden, Amanda Denham from Alabama in the States, Sarah Louise Wright from Nottingham here in England, not here because I'm in Wales, with Heatherjane Dangerfield. I'm here for a time being. We don't know how much longer I'll be in Britain. And then we have Neeve from South Africa. And I will let you know that if you hear snoring, it's not me. Obviously, it will probably be Chewy, my dog. Yeah, we're here today to launch the book Owning Our Ovaries. And I'm going to be sharing some screens throughout the evening. And so I'm going to do my best to handle the tech, and I've got my backup team. And so without further ado, I'm going to share one screen. I'm going to share this because, oh, I did it. Yeah. I can do hard things, as what's her face said, whatever her name was. I know who she is. She's that, what's her name? She had that psychedelic front cover. But as you can see, we're all here, and I decided that the best day to launch this book was today, because it is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And this is a really important day because, as you will see from just some of the notes there, violence against women and girls remains one of the most prevalent and pervasive human rights violations in the world. When I lived in Costa Rica, there was a huge rally, and that was in, gosh, what was Costa Rica? 2022, I think. And it was about, there was huge amounts of awareness about stopping femicide. And we hear about homicide and suicide and, all of these, but femicide and infanticide, there's some of the things that are often overlooked. And as you can see from the slide I've got there, globally 1 in 3 women have been subjected to physical or sexual intimate partner violence, or non-partner violence, or both, at least once in their life. Which is a really scary subject, considering that a lot of us are mothers, we are the daughters of people, we are the partners of men, we are the colleagues of men, and yet we are all going through some kind of violence, whether that is the violence of psychological violence, whether that is emotional violence, physical violence. And it's not just from men, it can be from the system, it can be from the medical world, it can be from each other, because sometimes women, we are our worst enemies. And one of the last facts there that we see at the moment at the bottom is 1 woman or girl is killed every 10 minutes by an intimate partner or family member. And that has to stop. And this is one of the reasons why I'm going to get all emotional in a minute. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this book, because when we stand together, when we own that power source, our ovaries, and come together to support one another and to collaborate, whew, this is harder than I thought it would be. We can actually help prevent violence against women, but it's got to be action rather than just lip service. No matter how fabulous your lips look in red lipstick like mine do this evening. Um, obviously. And the book, because our ovaries are the life source of us all, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes we have to have them removed, but it's all about owning who we are and owning our ovaries and owning everything about ourselves. The cellulite, the wobbly bits, the big boobs, the small boobs, the big butt, the no butt, the working ovaries, the non-working ovaries, whatever it is, when we own our power as women and when we own who we are and we stand in solidarity with each other, we can actually help so many things. And as you can see from this slide here, 190 million women worldwide are impacted by endometriosis. And if it wasn't for our fellow co-author, Julie Dixon, who cannot be with us this evening, my understanding of endometriosis would have remained, I'd have remained in quite a lot of ignorance about it. We have Heatherjane Dangerfield this evening with us, who works with endometriosis, and all the royalties from the sale of this book will go to help the research, so that because there's still no cure for this, and this is a debilitating dis-ease in the body. Now, whether we believe that that comes from the tampons that we've inserted or the contraceptive pill or unresolved trauma, whatever we believe or don't know to be true about endometriosis, we want to find a cure. Because as you see at the bottom, on average, it takes between 4 to 12 years, depending on which nation we are in the world. Sometimes it goes undiagnosed for whole lifetimes. But the average, most likely amount of time it takes a woman to be diagnosed with endometriosis is 7 years. And that's after she's been dismissed, belittled, told it's her fault, she's overweight, that she's, 100 other things. But I know that if men went through what women went through with endometriosis, we'd have probably had a cure by now. Throughout this evening, you're going to see this slide come up. There is that QR code. So if you haven't yet bought a copy of your book or ordered a signed copy of the book, please do so. I created that QR code. I can do hard things. That actually works. I tested it myself. So if you haven't yet ordered a copy of your book, click on that link. Using that link, you can also add a £3 donation to endometriosis. Like I say, because all online sales of the book will go to endometriosis. And then we're going to have a time for questions, and there'll be a little bit of a book reading. And that's how we're going to run this evening's show. So now, I have some questions that I'm going to ask the ladies. So I'm going to ask you all just to take a moment just to breathe, because I know that some of us are really quite nervous. This is our first book for Neeve and for Heatherjane and for Sarah. Ulrika and Amanda and I were kind of old hats at this now. Amanda has 2 other books, Sin Eater and Seven Feathers. Ulrika, I've lost count of how many titles she's got, but she's got some stunning titles. Yeah, so ladies, shall we get on with the show? You can say yes.
Yes, do it. Let's do it, Dawn.
Okay, so I've introduced everybody and the format of the evening. So I'm going to be asking the questions. Not that I'm avoiding being asked questions at all. But I can see that there are some lovely comments in. You should be very proud of her, Liz. She's amazing. And yeah, we're probably all going to have a few tears at some point throughout this evening. But I'm going to ask some questions to the ladies, and if you've got questions, please do pop them in the comments. Khalid and Tai, so Tai is joining us from Lagos in Nigeria this evening, and so they're going to be keeping an eye on the chat to make sure that I don't miss anything. But so, ladies, the question for you all: if you could summarize your journey, it's a really great question, in one word, right now, here, this minute, what would it be and why? And I'm going to take that over to Ulrika as she's in the top. I'm just going to go around my screen. So, Ulrika, if you could give us a one-word answer, what would it be and why?
Victory. So, yeah, as you who reads this book will find out, each chapter is different. And for me, this is the first time that I speak aloud of what I've been through and what I've shared. So for me, it feels like a victory that I can do it now, that it's safe to speak. It's overcoming so many challenges in society and in the country that I'm sharing my chapter from. So victory is my word.
Amanda, would you like to share a word? You don't all have to. I know that some of us are quite nervous, but just if you don't want to, I know that you'll message me and I'll skip that. So, Amanda, do you have a word, and why is it your word?
I think for me, my word is growth, because I feel like I was pretty emotionally stunted, held back when I was younger. I didn't have a lot of guidance or a lot of adult figures that I could turn to for advice, for guidance, for help. Mental health awareness was definitely not something that was prevalent. I trusted a lot of people I shouldn't have. And now I feel like I am so much more grown than I ever have been. I feel like I handle my life, my mental health, my everything in just such better ways. I feel like I can take anything that comes at me. So, growth, I feel like is my word.
Nice. I like that. Okay, Sarah, are you up for it, or do you want to pass? No pressure.
Trying to think of one word. That's
I can come back to you, darling, if you want.
I don't mind. No, so my word would be determination. I think. Nice. Just kind of just never giving up really, and just making a point of kind of trying to let the past be the past and just keep moving forward.
Beautiful. I like that for you. I love that for you. And Heatherjane, you're next on my screen.
Changed. My whole experience, I'm a very different person to what I was 21 years ago, but I'm also a lot stronger. I've been motivated and inspired by what's happened to me, so it's definitely changed.
Nice. I'm going to cry, I think. I'm not going to cry. It's okay to cry, but I'm not going to cry. Neeve, are you up for sharing a word with us all?
I can. I think my word would be reborn. Just because of
I like that. I wish I pinched that now.
That's really good.
my reason is just because of, everything I've walked through, the trauma, the heartbreak, the rejection, the losses. Honestly, it's more about the moments that I thought would have broken me. I didn't just survive, I recreated myself. Every painful chapter that has stripped away who I thought I had to be and forced me to step into who I truly am today, and especially from writing this chapter really did help me. So it's more of a reminder that my story didn't end in the darkness. I'm a woman who rose from the dark. So that's my word.
Okay. God, this is going to be harder than I thought it was going to be. Thank you all so much. Okay, so in this book, you will read 7 stories of incredible resilience, and those words that the ladies have shared, victory, growth, determination, changed, reborn, and I would say courage, because as I was reading these stories and editing them and you know, curating them and thinking about what is the reader going to get from this book, how do I protect the reader, how do I ensure that the journey that this book takes women and men who want to understand women more, what is that journey going to be like for them? Because there are some really harsh stories, but it's the alchemy of transformation that we've all gone through to be of service to others and to help really raise awareness of some of the hidden stories. Because even though these stories are of the seven ladies within the book, they are the stories of many, and I would dare to say all women on some level. Some of us have been through therapy, some of us haven't. But this next question, I'm going to send this out to I'm going to send it out to Neeve, Sarah, and Amanda, because as you'll understand when you read these stories, there are some of us that have had incredible support from our families, and then there are those of us who had zero support, or we had limited support or self-serving support. Again, if one of you wants to step in and answer that, but do you believe that our youth, specifically teenagers, need and crave more guidance from parents and adult figures in their life? Because I know that I did, and when I became a mother, I made sure that my sons had as much support and guidance as possible without smothering them, without stepping into mummy martyrdom. Would you say that our youth need and crave more guidance? Amanda, do you want to lead with that one?
I'd definitely say yes. I look back on when I was growing up and feeling so lost, feeling so directionless, looking around at all these other people who were getting higher education or getting great jobs or surrounded by tons of adult figures, and it just made me feel like, what do I do? Because if you don't have resources, you don't have resources. And as a teenager, especially, or a younger adult, you don't know where to find those resources. You have no idea. I didn't realize until my 20s how much my upbringing impacted me as a person, what ideas, things I believed were the truth were not actually the truth. But it's funny to say this, but even as a teenager, you're an impressionable child. And so you look to the people around you who you think know better than you, and that's what you absorb and take in. And so if those young adults have more resources to pull from, I feel like there would be more well-rounded adults walking among us, because then they've been exposed to a lot of different opinions, they've been exposed to a lot of different environments, and they can make more informed decisions based on who they are and who they want to be. So definitely, I feel like there's a lot of poor lost teenagers out there who just crave that guidance.
Neeve, did you want to jump in and answer this or add to this?
Yes. Yeah, so when I was young, I had more control than guidance. So I believe for the younger youth or the younger generation, I think they need more guidance than control. I found when I was controlled more than given guidance, I pushed away my parents a lot. And I was quietly longing for their presence. I just wanted boundaries from them, and I just actually wanted to see them and for them to show up and not just, like I say, control and point fingers. So I always just pretended that I didn't need people in my life from my past trauma. So even today, I push a lot of people away from me, away from my life, because of that. And I pretend I don't need anyone. I'm good. I'm independent. I'm happy. But there are times where I need someone. I need someone to stay close to me, even though I'm act strong or whatever the case is. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, Sarah, I don't mean to sidestep you, but just to make sure that we stick to time, I'm just going to move on from this. So please forgive me, but I just obviously want to make sure that we're respecting all the time possible. So, because we do have 15 questions, I don't know if I'll get through them all, but I just want to honour everybody's stories. This one I'm going to send out to HJ. And I click and I wink at her, but I know that she won't mind me. Your story nearly broke me, darling. The strength and you have such an incredible personality, like really bubbly. To me, when I met you, I was like, oh my God, I love this woman. She's like the bubbliest, the funniest. Some chats even more than I do. Like, how is that even possible? And I know people that know you will be laughing and nodding in agreement. Yes, I can see Liz's, because I know that Liz is here, and I'm so looking forward to my birthday, Liz. And just so you know, Liz and I, and when I met HJ for the first time, Liz was with, and I don't think the three of us ever finished a conversation. I don't think the three of us have ever finished a whole conversation. But when I read about your story, and just to prepare everybody, some of the things that we're going to be talking about this evening are quite triggering, and we don't want to trigger or upset anybody, but we do want to show why these stories are important. HJ shares her story of miscarriage, and not just once, but 3 times. And my own sister, she's lost 6 babies. My mum lost a baby between me and my older brother. And I grew up with the narrative that because my brother was really shy and my sister was really shy, I ended up with the personality of me and my brother who didn't make it. So I have got double the personality, which is not a great thing to hear when you're a child. But where did you find the resilience and the strength and because that kind of loss is such a unique loss that as a mother of 2 boys and someone who's never been through it, I can't even begin to imagine where you found the courage and the strength. But could you, if it's possible, could you describe what makes losing a baby such a unique loss?
So first of all, my first son was stillborn, and then I went on to have 2 miscarriages. And there's quite a difference, because with miscarriage, it's classed as a miscarriage if it's under 24 weeks. Above 24 weeks, it's stillborn if it's if the baby is born not breathing, which my son was 36 weeks, so he was definitely stillborn, and a beautiful individual. The thing that makes it really unique is the fact that when somebody older dies, if a parent dies, it's the natural order of things. So you've got memories, you've got people who've got shared memories. With a baby, there's only 1 or 2 people who may have been in that room who would have met that baby. You've got no tangible memories to share with people. So when a parent dies, you can sit around a table with maybe family and friends and talk about the times that that person did this or did that, did this. With a baby, you haven't got that. And that's one of the things that makes it unique, is the fact that it's the wrong order. No parent should ever bury a child. And that is one of the hardest things in life, is burying your own child. The fact that makes me how I am is when you haven't got a choice, really and truly, you either sink or you swim, as they say. But two, it's the people around me. The people around me who have loved me, cared for me, encouraged me, supported me, whatever I've wanted to do, they have been there. And if I want to have a day of just being upset, then I can have that day of being upset. But everything I do is in memory of him, and he is my motivation to carry on and to help others.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So I'm gonna move on to a healing process, because I mean, I know that you said that, you know, you had that I mean, it's very obvious the people that surround you, HJ, that, like, I was reading it, I was like, I wonder what that's like to have that kind of family support and that kind of support from friends. And because I never had that growing up, and even throughout my adult life, I've never had, you know, I read your chapter and it was almost as much as, you know, the heartbreak of losing a child and me wondering, you know, feeling that pain with you to a degree, because obviously I've never been through what you've been through. But there was also that deep sadness within me that I don't know what it's like to be supported like you were. So those of us that have gone through therapy, and Amanda's chapter speaks about art therapy. And I mean, I go sailing. I find ocean therapy very good, as well as singing off key and dancing around like a lunatic in my kitchen. But Amanda, when you speak about art therapy and you're doing your drawings and the writing, what does that give you as a child and now as an adult?
Feels very freeing. It feels like I can say things that maybe I normally wouldn't say, or say things that maybe other people wouldn't understand. And it's a really cool way to share it as well. I'm sure we've all been in conversations where we've tried to share certain feelings or certain experiences and we feel like we don't get the energy back, or just doesn't feel like you're getting it out appropriately. And so whenever I draw, whenever I write, whenever I use that art therapy, it feels like I'm doing something constructive with it, but also healing within myself with it.
I can feel the emotion in all of our, like, in the room, and I really want to acknowledge that freedom that you get from drawing, because I get that very much from writing. It's almost like there's all this stuff in my head, other than all the geeking out that I do and going down rabbit holes and, you know, nerding out on lots of different subjects. And it's like, I need to write this. I need to get this out of me. So I help, as you know, a lot of authors and a lot of people whose books will never be published. I help them through the art of writing. So I understand that freedom. What I wanted to move on to now is Amanda and I, we use the the freedom of writing, of drawing. But what would you say, Ulrika, are some of the things that help you when you get through when you're going through your bad days, or you've been through some of your darkest days?
So actually, I would say my own things that I teach over the years in my big toolbox. So I use my own yoga and breath work, and here in Spain, walking along the ocean and being with my dog and really doing all the shadow work, remembering that the shadows or the traumas, the inner darkness, it is actually consciousness. It's pure light. If you choose to heal it and if you choose to reclaim it. So to move from the shadows into the light. This is also what I it's a constant reminder of myself as I move through life's ups and downs and the challenges that I share about in my chapter. But also in my chapter, I'd really had days that I felt that I just don't want to live anymore. So to be reminded of that we are souls, that we are this light, this consciousness, choosing our experiences for this expansion, the victory or the rebirth that some of us has mentioned. So that is a good reminder for me.
Yeah, and I know that you and I, we think very similarly, and I know that some people go, you're a bit too woo-woo, you know, and there's all of this, you know, spiritual consciousness, and you know, this all this ultra realm, you know, these people like losing their minds, or you know, and I know that when I've spoken about certain things, like a lot of the herbs that I use to heal myself, like I've not been sick in over 20 years because, you know, I call it my witch's brew because I get my cinnamon bark, I get my star anise, I get my cloves, my lemon, my fresh lemon, my ginger tea, like fresh ginger, my green tea. I boil it all up with some manuka honey, and I remember when I was living in Colombia. There was a couple from Brazil, and Diego and Joanny, and they were coming down with this sickness and I was like, right, I'm going in the kitchen, and I'm there, and I've got my music on, and I'm dancing, and I'm making and like boiling up all of these herbs, and I go and give it to them, and within 24 hours, like they're like back on their feet again, and you know, and then everyone's like, Dawn, what's that stuff you made? Like, and I'm there, and I'm in the kitchen making all of them. And I was like, Dawn's witch's brew. It's a special brew.
Send some to the US for me.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like when we actually look at natural therapies and alternative therapies, whether it's art therapy, whether it's extreme sports like Pandora, who I wrote about in the second book in the Sacral, the third book in the Sacral series, or whether it's social activism, or whether it is you know, like massage or Reiki. And for some people that's a bit too far out there because they're so in this space of that's not safe, I don't know enough about it, it seems a bit, you know, my dad calls it a bit like wacky backy,
like woo woo.
Yeah,
woo woo earlier.
you know, like, yeah, it's you know, and some people are really afraid of like natural healing and natural remedies, even though they've been around much longer than big pharma. And big pharma is based on replicating the healing properties of the natural plants that we have within society. And a colleague that I met recently, we're looking at how magic mushrooms can heal PTSD for people of sexual trauma, and because it's working with veterans. And yes, a lot of us do get more woo-woo the older we get, because we're like, there's and I'm going to revisit a book that I co-authored with Ulrika when she was known as Ulis. There's a chapter in The Potent Power of Menopause, a culturally diverse perspective of feminine transformation. And there's a chapter in there by a lady called Fiona called Fuck It in Your 50s. And it's just one of the funniest chapters. And I do revisit that. But you were called Ulis when I first met you, Ulrika. Why did you change your name?
So I'm born and raised in Sweden, and my name Ulrika means the magnificent. So my whole journey has been to reclaiming my name, my energy, my ovaries, my power, etc. So I feel that when people called me Ullis, which is a nickname for Ulrika, it was sort of dimming my light, dimming my energy, and I was like, you know, the good girl, etc., etc. So Ulrika is also an old queen's name here in Sweden. So for me, it's about reclaiming my ovaries, reclaiming my power, reclaiming my name, and being the magnificent, so I can guide other women into their magnificence.
Nice. I like it. And I really resonate with that, because the more I've traveled around the world, so for those of you who don't know me, I've been on this mad mission of traveling the world as much as possible, because I firmly believe the more we know about others, the more we know about ourselves. We can let go of any prejudices or preconceived ideas, and we learn to understand why different cultures do certain things the way they do them, whether that's peeling a banana, or whether that is, you know, the plant medicines, or whether that is, you know, the way they drive, or what have you, political systems and kinship systems. Yes, I am a nerd. I've studied a lot. And looking at anthropology is one of my favorite things. I remember when I first did my first course with Oxford Uni on anthropology, I was like, oh, how did I not know I'm an anthropologist? Oh my God, that's so obvious. Hello, knock on the door of awakening. And it became so very obvious. And for me, I have this with my name, Dawn. I used to hate it when I was growing up, because I used to get Dawny Prawny, and I hated it, and it would be like, oh, thanks, Liz. She said I'm incredibly interesting. I am. And I own that about myself now. I used to hate it about myself, even to the point where I used to not tell people I was a writer or an author, because it changed the way people saw me. And with my name, when it translates into so many different languages, like in Portuguese, it's Aurora. When I go to Spain, I'm Amanecer. When I'm in the Arab world, I'm Fajr. You know, and when I'm in Italy, or I'm Alba. And I absolutely love the fact that so many different nations just start calling me by that. And I'm like, oh my God, my name's bloody amazing. You know, when I was studying human rights and human trafficking in the northern territories of Canada, and in the Arctic, it was like, I'm going to go see my name in lights. I'm going to see the aurora lights. And it was just really exciting. And, you know, and this is a thing that I think with all of our stories, we've shared so much about our journeys. And I know that Sarah's quite shy, and I'm going to say a few things about her. I don't want to put her on the spot at all. No pressure, Sarah. But you are really an incredible woman. And what you have achieved. So I'm going to give people a bit of perspective. Sarah left school without qualifications. And yet this woman, at the age of, what was it, 36 or 34, went back to university. She did all of her GCSEs. She got her a degree, and now she's got a master's degree in criminal psychology, and she got a massive distinction. And she is one of 2 people in the whole world that has looked at the judgments of employers on ex-offenders. Now, the reason I bring that up is because there's so much judgment on so many of us, and so many people look at where people are. They never really look at the distance traveled. And every single one of you here in this room, you've had a journey, whether it's the 6 of us here that have contributed to this book, or whether it's to, you know, the journey, those of you who are in the room that have so wonderfully graced us with your presence tonight. And I know that I speak for all of us when I say that we are all so incredibly grateful that you're here and you're supporting us. It's been a bit of a excuse my language, it's been a bit of a shit show, because apparently social media and the media, they don't like the word ovaries, even though that's where we all kind of stem from. And Sarah, your journey is just so inspiring. And I have to give a shout out to Lucinda. Yeah, go on, breathe it out, Sarah. Breathe it out, love.
I always get upset. You know why
Sorry.
I said I don't know why I'm getting upset, but then I was like, I always get upset on our
You
meeting.
do always get upset. Let the emotions out.
I'm fine.
You're more than fine, darling. And this is the thing, Lucinda, I remember sharing with Lucinda, who has, I've been friends with Lucinda for probably far too many years that we'd both like to remember. But this past year has been incredibly difficult for me.
Upsetting.
And there are lots of people that will say that they're going to be there for you. There are lots of people that will put messages on social media going, I'm always here for you. I'll reach out whenever you want. But then you get friends like Lucinda who they don't just send you a message, they phone you up. They're in your inbox, they're in your WhatsApp, they're on the phone. They're like, okay, I'm going to London, Dawn. I'm going, like, okay, let's meet up earlier, let's have a glass of wine. And they're your champions, they're your cheerleaders, and we all need that. And I was very uncomfortable with that. Very uncomfortable. Like you were saying, Neeve, you know, like, no, I'm fine. I don't need help. Like, because I don't know what help I need because I've never had help. Unless it was the illness I had that was post-eclampsia with my second child that nearly killed me. But there we go. But so many of us are treading this journey alone. And I know that my dear friend and Habibti Latifa is in the room. And I know that some of the challenges that she has been through. And we met when I lived in Egypt. And, you know, we're all showing up for other people. And Anna Behebik Awi, yeah, Latifa. We're not just holding it together for ourselves, but we're also holding it together for our husbands or our partners or our children or our friends or our parents. So to all of you out there that are holding it together for others other than yourself, I really, really honor you and say thank you for showing up for yourselves and other people. And that's what this book is all about. It's about us showing up and being brave enough to share our stories so that we can support other people. And I think that brings me quite nicely. There are some of us that would like to read a little bit from our chapters. Not all of us are going to do that. Not all of us will probably be able to make it through the first 2 words. I know that it's been a very emotional journey for all of us. So I am, I've just read Lucinda's message. Hang on. I'm going to, who would like to go first? HJ, Ulrika, if you'd like to read a few bits, and then maybe if I go down my screen again, if we do Ulrika and then Amanda and then HJ, if you'd like to follow. I'm not sure about Neeve or Sarah, whether you'd want to read a little bit, whether you're ready. If not, then I'll go and then we can just go from there. So Ulrika, I'll hand over to you, my darling.
Thank you. And so the fire begins. It was Christmas 2021. The world outside was trembling in fear. A planet caught and trapped in panic over a tiny crown-shaped virus. Corona, they called it, which in Spanish means crown. The world as we knew it was spinning in fear, manipulation and control, masked faces, censorship, and silenced hearts. And this news was broadcasted on mainstream media 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Long before Christmas 2021, I knew as a yogi with knowledge of ancient yogic scripts, this was the global shitstorm that had been mentioned for thousands of years. The yogic Veda scripts have long shared about this big shift, this ascension process, this important transition that is here to awaken humanity from a deep unconscious slumber, one where old systems will crumble and fall apart. That all we know as familiar would fall, an immense opportunity for a global shift into high states of consciousness. It would also act as a mirror of the inner shift, as old fear-based programs rose to the surface in the individual and collective consciousness. Yet deep within, another storm was unknowingly forming, my own. Humanity was being asked to connect deeper into our hearts, awaken and ascend into the crown chakra, to rise from old fear-based narratives into higher vision with more clarity and also more empathy and love for ourselves and also for others. Instead, most people unconsciously chose fear and the narrative. I did not follow the fear of the narrative or let it into my life, but it was hard to avoid. It was on TV, mainstream news, radio, family discussion. It was everywhere. I followed my heart, my inner truth, and little did I know at the time the cost of following my heart and speaking my truth in a society who didn't want to listen. the truth was coming with great costs at my own expense.
Thank you so much. And the only reason why I love your story is because I know that there are lots of people around the world that chose to step into sovereignty instead of stepping into fear, and they chose not to trust the peer pressure that we went through during that time, told that we weren't going to be able to travel or visit family and sick loved ones, or we'd lose our jobs, we'd lose our house. And that fear of isolation really tapped into a lot of people. And I know that many, many people that did take the vaccination have told me since that they wish they'd never had it, or they've actually seen loved ones pass away because of complications following it. Like my mum, she could not take it because of an ingredient. And then there was one that came out, and a lot of people, they never checked the ingredients within the various vaccines. They just took it because they were afraid if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to see family and friends or like travel and work. And I think that was one of the biggest issues that we did see, the isolation and the ostracization for standing in our own truth, which if we all did more of, if we all owned our ovaries, and if you all owned other parts of your anatomy, you haven't got ovaries, so you know, pretty hard for you to own your ovaries, but you know, you also do have a pair of balls, but they're known by a different name. But
balls.
Again, yeah. So again, it was such an important story for us to share, because even if it wasn't the same situation, as one of my business coaches said many years ago, same meat, different gravy, or for the vegans out there, same chickpeas, different salsa. So I'm going to move on to you now, Amanda, because I am very conscious that we are getting short of time. So Amanda, if you could read your part, that would be amazing.
I'll shorten mine down for time. My father would often talk to me about his negative feelings during this time. I wanted to be somebody he could talk to, but it was hard hearing it all. I didn't want to take sides, despite how disconnected I felt from my mother. Deep down, I had my own sadness and anger that I wasn't addressing or talking about, nor was I asked how I felt. Years later, people would tell me that it was inappropriate for my parents to talk to their children about each other. It's funny what you see as normal when you haven't experienced anything different. I thought it was my duty, what I should be doing to be there for them, since I couldn't contribute much else. The worst side effect of not being asked how I felt meant that I truly believed my opinion didn't matter. This horrible trait stuck with me for many years. For the first time in my life, I had a difficult time making art.
Oh. And for someone like yourself, that's really quite debilitating.
So
for those of you who've not seen Amanda's artwork, you need to follow her on social media, and you need to look at her first book, Sin Eater. She designed the cover of Sin Eater, and we included, because Amanda was published both her first books with me, which is such an honor. I mean, your second book, Seven Feathers, about grief, it's a book I didn't know I needed at a time when I needed it, when I lost my dear friend at the beginning of this year. So even though it's written for teens and young adults, as a woman who's 48 in about a week and a half, it was such an incredible, soothing story. And it was just almost as if someone was just breathing peace into my soul when I read your book. So thank you for writing and showing up the way you do, and for the beautiful illustrations that you share with the world. And you can get Amanda's artwork. I know that I can see that she's probably, you just let it go, darling. You can just let that emotion go. Like, we're all nearly doing it, so you know, join the club. And I'm going to pass over to HJ now, and then Neeve, and then I'll read a little bit of Sarah's, and then I'll read a little bit of mine if we have time. So HJ, if you'd like to share a little bit of your book with us. Sorry, your chapter. Our book.
So this part of the chapter is called Meeting Mummy's Boy. In the words of the famous Papa Was a Rolling Stone song, it was the 3rd of September, a day I will never forget. My labour pains finally started to increase, and the hospital asked the bereavement counsellor to speak with us about what would happen next. I was given pethidine, and finally my waters broke. I couldn't seem to work out how to scream, push, and breathe in the gas and air all at the same time, so I gave up on the gas and air. My midwife reminded me of my breathing exercises from antenatal, to which I replied they don't start until next Monday. She explained that if I wanted to have limited stitches, then I had to listen and channel my lovely scream into a push. So I pushed. After a few hours in labour, Xander was born at 2:43 p.m, weighing £5, 5.5 ounces. My midwife quickly cleaned him up and dressed him. Kathy, my midwife, passed Xander to Mum, whilst I delivered the very damaged and grey placenta. Xander was then handed to me, and I held the most precious gift I've ever been given. I'm so glad they didn't just get him out as I'd originally wanted, and so grateful that I'd had the privilege of experiencing childbirth and being pregnant. He was perfect, so long and gorgeous. His hair was dark ginger with tight curls, and his fingers were long. I held him to me and told him how much he was loved and wanted, and how I would always keep his memory alive. I told him how sorry I was that he'd been taken from us before he'd gotten to know us. All whilst trying not to cry over him, as I wanted him to have a positive experience of his parents.
Well done. Oh God, I just snorted. So there we go. It's nothing like breaking the ice, Dawn. Well done there. Yeah, and I know that some of you are probably thinking, God, this book's bloody heavy. But the one thing I want you all to remember, that when you're purchasing this book and you're buying it, not just for yourself, but for other people, is the alchemy and the strength and the courage that it's taken these women to share their story, but also that transformation and that alchemy that they've gone through to be able to be of service to other people. Now, when you read their bios in the book and you find out what they do, like Neeve, who is now going to share a little piece of her book, she found the comfort and the friendship, as I do, and as they say, you know, behind every strong woman is there is a dog waiting outside the bathroom door for her. And some of us, we joke that we'd rather be around dogs than humans.
No, we don't joke.
No, we don't joke.
It's totally true.
It's totally true. Amanda likes rabbits. I find them very scary.
I love dogs too.
Yeah, I don't like rabbits. Well, I do, but in the pot. Sorry, Amanda, but not sorry. But again, it's when you understand that Neeve, when she went through her transformation and her alchemy, she's become the first animal technician in South Africa, female animal technician in South Africa. That is so inspiring. That is incredible. And then HJ used her pain and she turned that into her power, as did Ulrika, and as has Amanda, and as has Sarah. And what Sarah is building with her business is incredible. So I want you to know that, yes, these stories are quite heart-wrenching, but they're designed that way. Because when we reach the pain of others and we show them what's possible on the other side, that's why we write these books. So Neeve, now I've given you a little bit of space to breathe, my darling. Are you ready, or did you want me to move on?
It's okay, I can read a part. HJ's passage just got me there a bit.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
No apologies.
Okay. I met with a dear friend's father, a steadfast believer in God and Jesus Christ. Our conversation meandered through the realms of marriage more than family. Sorry if I cry.
got you.
So,
Dawn, she's cursing you now for making me go first before.
Oh, okay.
We got you. You're safe here with us.
Unexpectedly, he turned to me and said, Neeve, you must forgive your parents, otherwise you'll remain shackled. I'm sorry. I don't think I can continue, Dawn.
That's okay. Take a
So,
breath. Take a moment. Do what you need to do for yourself, darling. If you need to come off film, if you need to mute yourself, you take that time. And then this is the power of these stories. They will resonate with you in so many different ways, whether it's your story or the story of someone you know. We've got you, Neeve, and I'm incredibly proud of you for what you've achieved thus far. I'm going to move on and I'm going to read an extract from Sarah's. If you would like me to read the rest of your chapter, Neeve, I will do.
yes, please.
Okay, so I know where that is. Uno moment. I'll read Sarah's and then I'll come back to yours because I've got Sarah's up here and open. He began to control every aspect of my life. I wasn't allowed friends, a phone to call anyone, nor was I allowed to see my family or have my own money. I wasn't allowed my own opinion or a voice of any kind. Asking questions was impossible, and to him I was an invisible slave, allowed to do only what he said. Being forced to cook 3 meals a day at the age of 19, which I'd never been taught to cook, was hard. I ate at the local sandwich shop, which people from Nottingham called the Cobb Shop. I ate there every morning for breakfast or at other food shops in the evening or at a friend's house. I had never cooked a meal in my life before this point. The boyfriend got his mum to come for the weekend from London to teach me how to cook, just for him to be satisfied. I'd clean the house every day, ready for his inspection, just to make sure it was up to his standards. He'd come home and run his finger over plug sockets, checking for dust. I became paranoid about cleaning, looking for dirt and dust all the time, just to avoid his abusive behaviour. No longer having freedom over any aspect of my life, I existed for the sole purpose of being and doing whatever he needed and wanted me to do. Now, the reason why we chose that aspect of the manuscript for Sarah was because there are so many women who are living in those situations. There are so many women who are living with economic abuse or spiritual abuse, isolation, and they go unnoticed, they go unseen. We are working with these women. They're allowed to go to work, come home, and that's where they stay, imprisoned in their own home. And if you have a female friend who has become all consumed by the man in her life, ask the question, is she okay? Because I know that there have been times in my life when I've gone, if I disappeared from view, would anybody care? Would anybody notice? Many women are living by themselves, but how long would it take any of us to notice that they'd not been on Facebook or LinkedIn or on there, and how much notice do we take? How long does it take for us to notice someone is missing or someone is being abused in any way? And that is partly, again, why the International Day preventing and ending violence against women is so important for us to launch this book on. So I'm now going to continue the part that Neeve couldn't finish, bless her. And Neeve, I'm holding you, my darling, from this far. You're a really brave individual. We all are. So we're sending you lots of love right now. To continue, Neve's chapter is I think it's the 3rd chapter in the book. I'm going to read that now. I met with a dear friend's father, a steadfast believer in God and Jesus Christ. Our conversation meandered through the realms of marriage more than family. Yet unexpectedly he turned to me and said, Neeve, you must forgive your parents, otherwise you will remain shackled by anger and resentment, passing this burden on to your children one day. His words struck a chord, and tears welled in my eyes, as I hadn't anticipated such a profound insight. I then inquired, how does one forgive a monster? How does one find it in their heart to forgive a manipulator who perpetually drags them down? More importantly, how does one forget the shadows of the past? He gently advised that forgiveness is a gift we bestow upon ourselves, not for them, but for our own peace and well-being. From his wisdom, I learnt that to forgive is to separate the individual from their transgressions, much like Christ did when he bore our sins. Liking the person is not a requirement. When you choose to forgive and overcome darkness with light, you pave the way for God to be your champion. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door to healing. Thus pray for them, bless them, and release them. In doing so, you dismantle the enemy's hold over your spirit. And the reason why when I read that part of Neve's chapter, that really hit me, because how many of us carry around anger or resentment or fear? How many of us actually can forgive others for their transgressions against us, whether we believe in God or universal selves, or Gus, as I call it, this higher entity, the quantum realm, we can name it what we like, but how many of us can find that peace and forgiveness in our heart for those who have hurt us, abused us, punished us, or neglected us? And I think that's a really, really poignant part to note, that when we don't forgive, it's us that actually has the dis-ease within our body. And when we don't face the dark nights of the soul, and we don't do the deep inner work, it is us that actually carries this further out into our life, into every area of our life. So again, these stories are about encouraging us to forgive, to do the deeper work. Now, I'm a bit, which bit of my story do I share? I was just going to go to the other bit, but then I'm like, okay, no, that's a really good bit. I could share that. About my life in Egypt. But, would people understand that? But the bit that I feel that would really resonate with a lot of people from my story, I'm gonna read that now. I lost it because I was okay. That's the beginning. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. Oops. Okay. I paid extra attention in science classes, but the knowledge in my geography, science, and humanities classes soon distracted me because I was fascinated with the world. I would be in natural science with Mrs. Richards and after chemistry lessons with Mr. Badley, and the dots just kept connecting for me. I could see how we were so connected to everything and everyone. Then I started to see the possibilities. If this is connected to that, and that is connected to this, then surely this is possible, and anything is possible. Thoughts going through my mind before the words, Dawn Bates, stop daydreaming. The thing was, I wasn't daydreaming. I was creating connections right there in class, and the possibilities for me were endless. Just imagine how so many of my internal thoughts began. Being told off by the teachers for daydreaming became a daily occurrence. I would get excited about some of the things I was thinking and share them with classmates who made fun of me. I would go home and be excited to share my lessons and ideas, only to be shut down by my mum because there was work to be done and told, you live in a fantasy land, you do, young lady. After a while, I knew my ideas and images had to be kept a secret. I couldn't share them with anyone. No, they were my secrets. because just like the auras, the silver raindrops, feeling the earth spinning and the images in the clouds. And if people knew, they would think me crazy. I knew the more I shared with my mum, the more she would repeat, there you go again, thinking you're better than the rest of us. We're just not good enough for you, are you? Are we? You and your bloody books, daydreams and fantasies, and accusing me of getting ideas above my station. I realised that even though my mum had bought me the books, she was too busy or too tired to listen to my ramblings and ideas. And again, I feel that that is quite an important aspect of a lot of people's childhoods. They're shut down by the parents who are there to support them, or to encourage them. And not all of us, on the outside, we might have success, but some of us grow up with that conditioning from our parents. Shut up, you're not good enough, you think you're better than us, stop daydreaming. I mean, how many people do I know that were told to stop daydreaming in class? Pretty much everyone I know who's a creative. But again, it's these stories are there to help resonate with all of us. Now we've got to nearly 10 past the hour. We've got 20 minutes left of this evening. I know that some people have had to leave because they've got to go back to work if they're in the States. And I'm really glad that Neve's stormy weather has allowed her to stay with us this evening, because we were a bit worried that that was going to probably mess with the mojo of the internet. And I just want to check in with you all. Are you all feeling okay? We're all, yeah, okay. So I'm going to ask Khalid and Tai to start allowing people to come on screen, because we would like to invite those of you who have joined us this evening to come on, and if you've got any questions that you would like to ask any of us, please do put them in the chat, and we'll try and remember all of them. So if you've got a question, do put that. But while you're doing that, I'm going to see if I can share my screen again. And
fancy.
I'm going to get all fancy again. You wouldn't believe I do a weekly moment where I do these events every week. Okay, so that
Oh, great question, Dr. Joanna.
it is being recorded. And those of you who signed up and registered will be getting a live recording of it. So
Great.
as you can see, obviously, always the businesswoman, always the sales person. We would love for you to help us raise money for endometriosis, but also to purchase a copy of the book, not just for yourself, but extra copies for friends and family and colleagues, just so that we can share these stories and help other women heal, help others, help the men in our lives understand. Now, there is a lady that isn't with us this evening, Julie, who shared about her endometriosis story. There are those of us that will understand the analogy when we say we've got a headache and someone goes, or like we say, oh, I've got a migraine. They'll say, I've got a migraine. And they really haven't got a migraine. They've got a bad headache. They probably need hair of the dog or a bit more water in some cases. But when I read Julie's chapter, I don't mean to make the men within the audience feel a little bit uncomfortable here, but I hear these women talking about, you know, having a moon cup for their menstruals. I'm like, moon cup? I need a moon bath. You know, like when my period arrives, that's it. My joggers are on, the chocolate's in. My boys know to get me some emergency chocolate. And I stay indoors for 2 to 3 days. I don't go anywhere unless I need to walk the dog. And it's not just because my periods are heavy and sometimes painful. It's just that women get used to having to wear black trousers or really dark clothing. So if we do leak, it's not shown. And so, yeah, my periods are heavy, and yes, they've been painful. But then when I read Julie's story, this woman, what she has been through, the pain and the suffering and the medical negligence, that woman is a warrior. and she does call herself an endo warrior. You know, she organises a lot of she organises the Endo March for women here in Cardiff. And what she's been through, her story is really quite incredible. So if you know somebody who might be having heavy periods and you want to learn a bit more about endometriosis and the resilience that it takes and the things that you need to fight for as a woman to get your health, your bits downstairs sorted, for those who need a bit more of a looser reference, and what it's like having to go through a hysterectomy and have your menopause come on early, and understand the story of endometriosis, then Julie's story is something that it's an eye-opener, and I'm incredibly grateful to her for sharing her story with us. I'm disappointed that she can't be with us this evening, but we do send her love and lots of gratitude and healing as she moves forward. So if you haven't yet clicked on this fantastic branded QR code that I created earlier, now's your chance. I did a QR code.
I'd be proud too.
Yeah,
I'll also do one.
Canva and Google search. It's amazing what you can learn.
I'm gonna click it just because it's there.
Yeah, please do.
Because I
Share the
can.
link. Do it quickly because I'm going to stop sharing so that we can go to the questions
Guys, it
in the
works.
chat. It does work, right?
Look at that.
Look what I did. Right. Thank you, Dr. Joanna. That's very kind of you. Okay, there are no questions. There are no questions for us, ladies. Okay, so we can probably just relax a bit now, because questions can get a little bit nerve-wracking. So, ladies, I'm going to ask you all a question now. Notice I'm avoiding people asking me questions. So, is there something that you would like our audience to take away with them from this evening? And what would you say to them other than go buy the book? I'll start with, again, going around my screen. I have Ulrika in the top corner. So Ulrika, is there something that you would like to say to our audience this evening and those who are watching the replay?
I do. Thank you so much for your precious time and energy being here. This is what I feel is the screen is the modern bonfire where we women have been gathering for thousands of years, sharing wisdom, inspire and support each other. So thank you all for being here. And also for me, I love this because this is also part of the healing in the collective consciousness and the broken sisterhood. So thank you.
Amanda, you're up next.
Of course. Thank you all for being here. We've put a lot of heart and a lot of effort into this book, so I'm really, really happy we can share it with people. I think my biggest struggles over the past few years, maybe, and I say few, like it's not the past 20 years, have been self-worth issues. So I would love to tell everybody in here that no matter what you're going through, no matter what your subconscious might believe, no matter what your parents or whoever have made you believe, you are worth happiness. You are worth getting yourself out of that dark space, because that's such a huge, huge thing to do. I know a lot of us think, I haven't done something huge. I haven't done something big. Yes, you have. Because if you have gotten yourself out of that situation, if you've gotten yourself out of that mindset, if you are living a better, healthier life for yourself, that is so amazing. So please know that you are worthy no matter what.
Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. Okay, next up, Sarah. The screen's just changed orders, so I've no control over that, sorry.
So I would just like to say thank you to everyone for the support. You know, it's really, really difficult to get people to support. Everyone's busy, you know, to take time out of your day. It's much appreciated. You know, the topics that are discussed are just so important, and I just think that can really, really help someone that is, you know, stuck in that place where a lot of us was a long time ago. So yeah, just appreciate, and yeah, I'm really glad that I'm here and I'm a part of this, and that I've been able to, you know, give my version of my life rather than it being a different ending, you know. So thank you.
Thank you. HJ, you're up next.
Just echoing everyone's thanks. Just to say, if you ever do come across a bereaved parent or anyone bereaved, really, my advice is to mirror the language that they use. So if they say they've lost somebody, repeat that. But if they say somebody is dead, repeat that as opposed to the loss bit. I once said to somebody, I'm really sorry for your loss, and they told me I haven't left them in the supermarket. They're dead. So mirror that loss. If you don't take anything else away from tonight, mirror somebody's loss. But also, if you don't know what to say, then just say, I really don't know what to say, but I'm here. It's much better than saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you. And what about yourself, Neeve?
Yeah, obviously just want to say thank you for everyone joining. I don't know everyone that's on the Zoom meeting, so it is amazing to see people from around the world to join. But I just want to let you know that you are not defined from your past or your pain, or even the doors that get closed or shut in your face. Even in the darkest moments, there's strength inside you that is waiting to rise. So if our stories show anything, it's that you can survive, you can fight, and you can build a life that is entirely your own life. And I need you to hold on to yourself, because you are worth every ounce of courage that it takes. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you all so much for staying here with us this evening. I know it's been there's been emotions, there's been some very heavy energy, but also some light, and there's been a lot of love shared this evening. When I first came up with the idea of this book, I come up with some ideas, I tell you. I didn't realize the journey it would take me on. And to give you a little bit of insight, the phrase owning our ovaries came from a flippant comment that I made nearly 30 years ago. And I really have to kind of understand that making flippant comments or coming up with these great ideas, I really should keep my mouth shut at the times. For example, I'm going to be swimming the 33-kilometer swim in 2026, I think, maybe 2027, because that was another great idea I had. Oh, I know, I can do that, the 33-kilometer swim. Woo! But, I will be doing it for charity. But if you get an idea and it feels right, run with it. If you want to show up for yourself in whatever way you want to show up, you show up for yourself in that way. You don't worry about what other people are thinking about you. You don't worry about being judged, because people are going to judge you anyway. So you might as well put that energy into being who you truly want to be. And just to build upon what Amanda said, you know, at the beginning of this year, my goal was to get out of bed and to stay out of bed. And this year has been about rebuilding myself under some really harsh conditions and situations. And my son is here tonight. It's Khalid who's doing all the background stuff. And I wouldn't be here leading this with you tonight if it wasn't for him taking care of me this last year. So Khalid, I know you're probably not going to really like me saying this publicly, but you are the most incredible person. And I know that it's been tough for you, and you've sacrificed a lot to be here with me. There he is. Yeah, baby. But I am so grateful for you and to you for everything. And it's okay to lean on our children at times, especially when they're grown men. And yeah, he is awesome.
Especially on the tack.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like people look at you from the outside and they think that your life is amazing if you've got success, or they think that, you know, you're not so great if your life doesn't look as polished as theirs. But let's always remember that there is a distance that people have traveled. There are things that we don't know about that people are going through. So instead of just sharing the memes, like, oh, be kind, you never know what people are going through, actually mean what you mean. Oh, there's a meme. Mean what you mean.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. But this book, it's taken me on a wild ride. It's shown me a lot about humanity. It's shown me a lot about sisterhood. And the 5 women that you see here today, and Lucinda in the chat, I just really want to thank you for being there for me on this journey. It's been wild. It's been long. It's been painful. It's been insightful. But you all inspire me so much, and I am so incredibly grateful to all of you for buying into this crazy idea I had to crossing the Atlantic for 3 months. Go, oh, I know, I'm going to write a book about owning my ovaries. I'm going to include lots of other women. And we do celebrate women from the past at the end of this book. And at the end of the book, you will find some journaling questions. You will find some book club questions. Or if you're part of a women's network, you will find questions that you can get together with your girlfriends, you know, or your female colleagues in your business network. So you can dive into these questions that we've set you. And one of the things I did at the beginning of this year on LinkedIn was I celebrated women throughout history, because none of the women today that have the opportunities that we have, we would never have been able to do that unless it was for the women who fought and died for us to have the opportunities that we have today. These women, they didn't just burn their bras and own their ovaries. They set the tone thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, for all of us today. So if we don't own our ovaries and we don't show up for ourselves and for other women, then every single one of those women who died for us, their lives have been lost. They've been dishonored. We're dishonoring them. So show up for yourself, show up for each other, show up for future generations of women. And thank you all so very, very much for joining us here this evening. We are so grateful to you. And that wraps it up with 5 minutes to go. We did it.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. So you can all come off, you can all come on screen if you want to. Let's give us a wave and let's get a big photo. If that's possible.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Go on, Lucinda's up
I'm the friend. I'm the mom friend. I'm always like, let's get a group photo. You know, like I'm always.
Oh, yeah.
I love a good
I'm always
selfie.
like that.
Me. I love a good selfie.
I love a good selfie.
I bet 2 of mine are actually in bed and going, no, I'm not coming on you.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and thank you all so very much. I noticed that some of them are not come on. Latifa, yalla ya habibti. She's going to say no. But yeah, if it's okay with those of you who have
Sorry, I'm
oh
laughing
yeah,
at my
sorry.
person going, I've got a towel on my head.
It's a beautiful towel.
Oh, is that the man?
The man.
I like your stories, Mr. Leon. Right, so I've got to figure out how to use my phone on 1 second. I
I've
think
taken a couple with mine too.
Oh, have you? So if you don't want to come on, that's okay. If you do, and Claire is here. We had a fabulous lunch the other day, and I'm going to be up partying with Lucinda just between Christmas and New Year, and Liz and I are going for a giggle fest in Newport in a week and a half. Are we not, Liz? For my birthday, because that's what you do. Hang on, I've got my phone the wrong way around. Khaled, can you take a screenshot as well, please?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. But if you can all just give a wave, that would be really great while I try and do my phone.
Oh, there's my mum. I was wondering where you were.
Thank you. I've done it now. Probably need, my phone's just told me I need to clean my phone.
Hi, Sarah's mum.
Hi, Sarah's mum.
But my dad's sitting there going, "How'd you put your camera on?"
Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you all so very much for showing up for yourselves and for others. It really is so appreciated. So yeah, that's it. That's tonight all wrapped up.
Wow. Got to read the book, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's out. It's ready.
It is. The ebook is now available.
Yep.
There are some platforms that you know, they take a bit of time. Others that the book is out, but using that link, then you can pre-order your own signed copy. So if you haven't done that already, then please do go to the link that I know Khalid shared in the chat. And Khalid, if you can share that again, that'd be great. You've got the QR code. It will be sent out. The paperback and the hardback versions are available on my birthday, 6th of December. So Liz and I will have something else to celebrate when we go in. So yeah, I'm really excited, as you can probably tell. But yeah, and the audiobook will come out when the audiobook comes out. There are some books that we recorded in the studio back in March of this year that we're still waiting for Audible to approve, but it's out on Spotify.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, Audible are
Get
wonderful.
it together, Audible.
Yeah, Amanda, get it together with your books. Audio
I know.
recordings.
I need to do mine.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't want to keep you all any longer. But yeah, so thank you all so much for giving up your time, and love to you all and love to your families, and thank you all. Yeah. Ciao, ciao.